opening day of the first Test match of the series between West Indies and England began at Trent Bridge in cool, overcast conditions. Not bad conditions for bowling, actually, and I suppose when Tony Greig lost the toss to Clive Lloyd that he wouldn't have been all that unhappy. It was likely there'd be some movement in the air and off the seam for his quick bowlers. He had the benefit of having Alan Knott in the side. Roger Tolchard was left out of the originally nominated side for England when Knotty declared himself fit. And the West Indians went in without Michael Holding. He was left out with suspected glandular fever. They played Wayne Daniel and they went into the match without a spinner. We join play now with Mike Hendrick bowling the second over of the day, and the batsman is Gordon Greenidge.
It's a short one, a bad ball in fact. Really chasing it, but no chance of stopping it. Short again, hooked away down the deep long leg. Greenidge very quickly onto that. Coming back for the second. A good run in there to take the first one quickly, enabled him to come back for two. Snow to Fredericks. It's all the way through there. Still no chance of coming up. Little Nick. Not a possible chance to Alan Knott. Going well wide of the diving keeper there. But see the depth of that West Indies bat in there with Viv Richards, this great player to come in three, Kelly, Turan, Lloyd, Murray, young Gomes, his first Test appearance, Bernard Julian low down in the order there, such a good player, Holder, Roberts and the Daniel making up the pace attack. That's off an edge again, under coming round, so they get a single, and I rather fancy John Snow won't mind that. 25 minutes he's been bowling at the left-hander. I'm quite sure he'd like to have a little crack at the right-hander whilst there's still plenty of shine on the ball. And that's dropping short of slip, catching the outside edge, no chance again. Hendrick there at slip, but the ball pitching some 2 yards in front of him. Snow to Greenidge. That's a bad one, a short one, and this boy thrives on anything short. Long hop halfway down, hammered unmercifully through the offside there by Greenidge. And there the two boys from Antigua and their supporters, Andy Roberts and Vivian Richards, both came over here in the late teens. Had a lot of coaching at Alfgover School before going into first class cricket. Again, it's the short one, which Greenidge powers away without any bother at all. And the England bowlers really must keep it up to Greenidge. His weakness is against the one pitched up. Anything short on these English pitches, he puts away in no uncertain manner.
Outside off stump. It's a confident shout, but he's playing a stroke. Or pitching outside off stump, and I suspect he was also across and outside. Yep. John Edridge has caught him. A good catch, that. My word, he took that beautifully. It was a firm hit, and Mike Hendrick has taken the first wicket for England on this cloudy morning at Trent Bridge. 36 for 1, West Indies, with Greenidge the man out. He wasn't quite over that forcing stroke on the offside, tried to hit it through point and got it a little bit late. And there it is again. It landed reasonably short. Greenidge not over it. You can see him cramp for room there. And John Edridge took a neat catch, waist height at gully.
Holt to Richards. Short, beautifully put away. First really bad ball that Chris Holt has bowled. And Richards there so quick, making Chris Old look almost like a slow off spinner. Well bowled. Really good ball there from Chris Old. Richards beaten again.
That's safe and very, very fortunate for Vivian Richards. He started off for the hook there. I don't think it was all that short. Not short enough to be hooked. Batsman having a look at it now. It's not very far from that spot. Back to where Richards was batting. It was just short of a good length. Didn't quite mean that. That's beautifully fielded by Close. Beautiful stroke, a half-century partnership. It went through Brian Close, but it was hit very powerfully.
Tony Greig to Roy Fredericks. Once again, that's through the gap, chased by Brearley. It's bringing up the 100, and it's going to beat Brearley through. So the arrival of Greig and Woolmer at medium pace has seen a change in the outlook too of Roy Fredericks. Started to proceed with a lot more confidence now. Moves into the 40s, brought up the 100 for his side. 164 minutes. But, quite an acceleration here since lunch. Last 50 a scum in 59 minutes. Played and missed there. This surely has got to be the tactic of Tony Greig and Bob Woolmer, to attack these West Indians on and around the off stump. And Woolmer to Richards. It's a good ball. Tossed high in the air by Alan Knott, asking for a catch. Brought absolutely no response from umpire Tom Spencer at the far end. It's a useful ball. It cut away quite sharply off the pitch. And that's it, he's caught. Nicely taken at second slip, and the ploy has worked off. Greig is successful, peppering that off stump. He's found the outside edge, and Hendricks taking a smart catch at second slip. That's really what Tony Greig had been working for right throughout that over. Looking for an indiscretion there outside the off stump. Fredericks, who'd allowed 2 or 3 to go harmlessly by in the end, couldn't resist having the little push. Getting an outside edge and very smartly taken at second slip. So the second West Indian out, Roy Fredericks going for 42 with a total on 105. 42 is Roy Fredericks' top score on this tour so far, and he's got to be a little bit disappointed, thinking he'd weathered that early storm and started to look for some runs. So at 105 for 2, the second wicket going down. Tony Greig the bowler, and as you can see, he bowled very wide. Really no need for him to play at it. If he'd middled it, he wouldn't have got any runs for it. And Hendricks taking the catch at slip. My word, he misses very little that's short of a length. Barely cracking that through mid-wicket. Each time any English bowlers drop short to Richards, he's in position so quickly. All the time in the world to hit this ball well in front of square. Short again. He must surely learn his lesson. Just never bowl short to a West Indian batsman, particularly on a slow pitch such as this. Early sting has gone out of the wicket here now, and it looks absolutely ideal for batting. 33rd Test match this for the little left-hander up the far end, and he really has got a fine Test record. Average is almost 52 in Test matches. Short again, and similar sort of treatment, and another boundary. 3 times now Bob Woolmer's dropped it short to Richards, and 3 times he's put him away through the identical position. It's a good on drive too by Richards, and each time Bob Woolmer has strayed from that necessary length and line, Richards has been so quick to put it away. Takes 3 there, which brings him on to 50, keeping up this wonderful run he's had in Test matches. But short, pulled away again. And Richards has never yet missed out on this short ball. Oh, what a fine shot. No apparent effort at all that. Timed beautifully. And just flicked away with a turn of the wrist.
Shot, and pretty well fielded by Hendrick. He got the hand to it and took quite a bit of the pace off it. It's still going to go for 4, but he did well to get down to it and get a touch on it. It was a fine stroke from Richards. It's one of his most powerful shots today. Hit it on the up. Toss and 4 runs. Underwood not able to get to it, so 8 from this over from 2 spanking drives from Vivian Richards. A good shot. Beautiful stroke, that. A classic straight drive. That's 4 great shots in that over, not least of them that one from the last delivery. The full flow of the bat, and between the batsman and the umpire at the bowler's end.
Easy single there on the leg side to John Snow. West Indies winning the toss, 149 for 2. Kanacharan 11. Richards 66. Off the edge, thick edge, no chance, and that defeats David Steele down on the 3rd man boundary.
Tony Greig has been plugging away just on and outside the left-hander's off stump. He's bowled quite effectively from this pavilion end. Face now with Viv Richards, who's looked to be in really fine form. He's on 72 now out of this score of 160. And hammered away unmercifully through the offside. Really hit with tremendous power. And a feature of his play here this afternoon, anything at all short, certainly got the full treatment. Into position, beautiful into position, full follow through of the bat. Chris Holt at the far end to bowl now his 15th over of the innings. And that's a great catch. No, it's in and out. Looked initially as though England captain was going to cling on to it. In anybody else, I don't think they would have laid a hand on it, but all the 6'7" height of Greg there coming into action. Richards on 79 facing Greg. Not quite where he intended it. Stood up a little bit. So chose for David Steele, cut it off, but there should be 3 runs here. No need to run for that one. Over pitch ball. Big wide gap there between the bowler and mid-on. Richards finds it, takes 4 more. His 14th boundary, and moves his score on now to 86. Oh, what another good shot. Really was a fine shot, that half volley, admittedly a bit beautifully placed, perfectly put away by Viv Richards. Moving close to yet another 100. And going on the defensive here, a slip being removed, extra cover. Something more like a Sunday afternoon feel now, 3 on the off, 3 on the on. And that's short again, and it's getting the same sort of treatment. And quite incredible. It really is. 6 times he's dropped it halfway down, and 6 times he's been put away for 4. So John Snow's had a fair old rest back in the attack at the far end. Then he likes to bowl here at Trent Bridge, coming slightly down the hill here from the Radcliffe Road. And to bowl at Calichuran with 2 slips. And that's 4 runs. Wide half volley. What a way to go to the 100. A really superb shot. Half volley, pitched round about leg stump. Fairly clattered again through that onside. So a magnificent 100 by Viv Richards. Bringing some more glory to the Antigans who are here in full support of him today. Century coming in 212 minutes, 17 boundaries in it, and quite an array of glorious shots. It's already his 600 in Test match cricket, and his 5th since January the 1st this year.
Safe again through that gully area, and before runs was a no ball called by Tom Spencer as well. And the 100 stand comes up between Richards and Calichuran. Well bowled. I think he was going to give that the flash through mid-wicket, almost irrespective of where it pitched. Calichuran is on 27. Richards, who has strike now, on 115. It's in the air, but it's quite safe, and it'll beat Underwood into the boundary. He really hit that one on the up. There's no waiting there for the half volley. He gave it a really good thump. And what a lovely way to reach your 1,000 runs in a calendar year. Great shot. He very quickly onto that. So tried to dig it in. Kalicharan didn't really bother to get his feet into position. Just watch the feet. Just a little shuffle with the left foot, which he rocks onto. Looks as though he might be a little bit off balance, but the ball coming off the pitch so slowly made up for that. Great shot. What a magnificent stroke. That is the stroke of the day. Wasn't a bad ball. And he just hit it straight over the extra cover boundary for 6. Picked it up beautifully. Lovely free swing of the bat.
That's just wide. A great effort there. Would have been a stupendous catch if he could have clung on to it. Took off. Great diving leap to his right. Got 2 hands to it, and he's getting a very generous round of applause. Not only from the crowd, but from Underwood as well, who appreciated this great effort by Hendrick to try and snap up a really difficult chance. Hit again with tremendous power. And any England goalkeeper would have been proud of that dive. It's tossed high in the air and pulled away to mid-wicket by Kalicharan. Edge just wide of slip, not far away from a catch there. Outside edge, he meant to nudge it in that direction, looking for the single to get his 50. He gets 2 and he goes on to 51. Been a supporting role this afternoon, played by Alvin Kalicharan, quite happy and content to proceed, take the occasional boundary, but nudge the singles.
Well, that is a very powerful position for the West Indians to be in. The loss of just 2 wickets. Fredericks caught Hendrick, bowled Gregg 42, and Greenwich caught Edridge, bowled Hendrick 22, and Richards 143 with Kalicharan 52. Kalicharan very definitely playing for tomorrow. He wasn't going to throw his wicket away this evening, and he kept the thumb right on Vivian Richards and made sure he continued to concentrate. Very, very good batting pitch. There are plenty more runs there for the West Indians tomorrow, and I suspect also there'll be plenty of runs for the England batsmen. No real joy there for the bowlers today. They stuck to it pretty well. They tried to contain the West Indians rather than worrying a great deal about bowling them out, and from that point of view, they succeeded. They kept it around about 3 runs and over, but a long lineup there of powerful players for the West Indies still to come in and still to take to the England bowlers, and I should think the scoring rate will accelerate fairly rapidly tomorrow. 274 for 2, it's a great position, good batting throughout the day, solid batting, perhaps a little more solid than we're used to from the West Indian players, and the overriding impression that I will keep from the first day of this series between West Indies and England is the absolute brilliance of Vivian Richards. I saw him play in Australia. He played magnificently out there towards the end of the series. I missed him in the Caribbean when he played against India. It's worth coming 12,000 miles to see him play again today and to hit an unbeaten 143. The second day of the opening test match at Trent Bridge began in splendid weather conditions. Plenty of sunshine around, not very much cloud cover, which would be disappointing for the England bowlers, John Snow and Mike Hendrick, who had the chance of taking the second new ball first thing this morning. 274 for 2 the West Indians were overnight. Vivian Richards 143, that brilliant innings yesterday. Kalicharan was 52. Well, Tony Gregg gave both John Snow and Mike Hendrick a loosener, 1 over each, before he allowed Snow to take the second new ball, and here he is now, bowling to Vivian Richards. Derek Underwood. 2 to Viv Richards to take him on to 150. there's another 4, and it's a great shot. Could have gone over the top, just made it over the rope. Bowled. Didn't quite get it in the meat of the bat, but it'll just beat Brian close into the boundary. Takes Vivian Richards now on to 164. The total to 308 for 2, which means the 200 partnership is on the board between Vivian Richards and Alvin Kalaicharan. Tony Greig now bowling to Richards. Oh, great shot. Beautiful stroke.
Solskjaer, nice piece of work in the field there, appealing and giving him out, but the umpire not agreeing with him. Roger Solskjaer, the keeper, well known of course for his great speed between the wickets and showing how quickly he can move in the field there. And the old head went up there from Richards and wasn't very far away from bowling him. Chris Holt to Viv Richards. No need to run for that either. Big gap through mid-on, over pitch ball, and Richards all the way through this innings has scarcely missed a half volley. That's short, and that's walloped around there. Underwood just a chance. No, he can't beat it. Well, didn't quite middle that as well as some of the others, but it still goes through for 4. And signs that there is little pace in it, looking at the position that Brian Close has taken up at slip. He's gone in almost to a second slip position there. One usually finds the slower the wicket, the squarer the slip can afford to go. On a quicker wicket, he would have to be much finer and much nearer the wicketkeeper with the ball coming off a lot more quickly than it will do on this one today. And that's not too far away. Just half a dozen inches away from Close's left hand. Chopped away, middle that a bit better this time. And the outfield, which has quickened up considerably today, doing its work, providing Kalaicharan with another boundary there.
Lovely stance and good grip. Beautiful method all told. And when he attacks, Brian Close. That would have been very near, a very near thing for Richards. He's gone past the 192 now. That's his highest score in Test cricket, but it must have been desperately close at the end, with Brian Close coming in fast. Oh, yes. I think there would have been a shout for that.
And umpire Spencer ready now for him to proceed. The first ball after lunch. Snow to Kalaicharan. And that's a short loosener, and that's beaten David Steele. Well, I think Richards would have liked that one on 196, but Kelly Turan dealing with it very firmly, moving on to 89. Well, that's short, and that's it. Friendly offering on 196 there, my word, by John Snow. Pitched it halfway down. And a tremendous performance this by Vivian Richards. 200 in a test match on this ground, following in the footsteps of the great Frank Worrell and Basil Butcher before him. 28 fours, so many of them with that pull shot or that hook shot, which took him to 200. 2 sixes as well, and of course his first 200 in a test match. And that's another friendly offering, halfway down. He hit that even more powerfully in that big gap between mid-wicket and mid-on. And that's a half volley. And just look at the power and timing of this really master batsman. 2 great hook shots, a half volley driven through the gap between mid-off and the bowler. Kelly Turan, who's been his support, and good solid support throughout this long partnership. He's on 90 now. And he's swung Underwood away to deep square, want to get a single. And the challenge answered, and a terrific shot. 6 glorious runs, right over wide mid-off. Well, that's Viv Richards' third 6. Hit a tremendous shot yesterday off Derek Underwood. A very similar direction, that just a fraction straighter. And he's found it through the onside this time. Really another great shot. Clipped away through mid-wicket. Runs absolutely flowing from his bat now. Just to show that every shot in the book is his, waited for it, delicate little late cut. And he takes 2 more. And in the middle of all that furore, the 400 has come up. And Richards has moved on now to 224. Shout for LBW, swinging across one, pitching, I would have thought, round about middle. But of course Derek Underwood has got to be able to straighten the ball up, bowling from that angle. And one doubts very much whether there's any spin at all in this wicket. That ball would obviously have gone on with the arm to miss the leg stump. And it's flicked away. No slip. Right close at short third man, having to run round to the field, and it's 2 more to Richards. He's down the pitch again, he's had to catch. No, it's over the top. Just clearing Mike Hendrick, not by very much, about a yard over the top, into the pavilion. See the footwork here, dancing down the pitch, full swing of the bat, the great follow through. Hit low and hard, and just clearing Hendrick on the long on boundary. That's in there, it could be a catch this time. Gregg's there and he's made no mistake, tosses it high. And Richards is out. Gregg mobbed there by the fielders, the first wicket to have fallen today at the end of a sparkling, a superb exhibition by this brilliant West Indian cricketer, Vivian Richards. Giving the bowler a chance in the end, looking for quick runs after he'd passed the double century, and caught by Tony Gregg, no bother at all on the long off boundary for a truly magnificent 232. And adding his name to the long list of great West Indian cricketers we've seen in this country since the war. Weeks, Worrell, Walcott, Sobers, Lloyd and now Richards. And one can only think we're going to see a lot more of him in the future. 4 sixes and 31 fours in a stay of just over 7 hours. Highest score of his career. And this is how he finally departed. Having hammered Underwood for 3 sixes, tries his luck again. And Tony Greig stationing himself on that long off boundary, absolutely determined he wasn't going to drop that one. So that's the third West Indian wicket going down, the score on 408, and what a sight for English fielders as the big frame of Clive Lloyd wends his way out there. He's hoisted that over the top of mid-on. 1-2 bounces over the ropes, taking advantage of this close set field.
97 to Karacharan. It's in the air, David Steele, and he's caught it. And what a disappointment for Karacharan, and well done Underwood, who's bowled extremely well. A good ball that, floated into the air, a little bit slower. Good piece of bowling and a good innings from Karacharan, but disappointing that he should throw it away just by trying to reach the 100 with a boundary or one over the top. And for some reason best known to themselves, the ground authorities are allowing people to rush onto the field. Thought we'd got rid of that, annoying the batsman. The place for the spectators is back behind the ropes, and the place for the players is on the field. So Karacharan comes off, having made 97 in 6 hours exactly, 8 boundaries, but only 3 fours today. He's been suffering a little shoulder trouble today. His batting hasn't been as free as usual, but his partnership with Vivian Richards was very, very good. So it is to be Bernard Julian coming out to bat. I don't think that came off the edge. There wasn't a movement from close or from the short leg. There was a shout, but I suspect it probably came from the hopeful bowler. David Steele, and there's no need to run for that. That's a magnificent blow. Oh, he really did pick that up well. David Steele saw very quickly that it was pointless looking anywhere but the marquee for that particular ball. And that could be out. Hendricks the man under it, and it's a good catch. And again, I wish those kids would keep off the field. That's most unnerving for the players. Just look at that. Clive Lloyd, the man dismissed, out for 16, and the total is 432 for 5. Here's how it happened. It was a full-blooded shot. Hendrick judged it pretty well. He was moving away to his left and had to go back, and he was cramped for room in the end. He caught it round about throat height. And he's given it, and no doubt there in Brian Close's mind, nor in Derek Underwood's, that Larry Gomes was out for naught. Inside edge, onto pad, a little bit of turn there. And 432 for 6. So here it is again. You can see it's a little bit of turn from Underwood, this time coming over the wicket to the left-hander, whereas he's been bowling mostly around the wicket. Inside edge, you can see straight off the edge there, onto the pad, and quite a simple catch to Brian Close. Well hit. Good stroke player, Bernard Julian, and he's in form. I saw him play some good innings in Australia, one in particular when he had a broken finger, and he really did carry the attack to the Australian bowlers.
He's gone for the big one, successfully middled it over the top of mid-wicket. And that ball racing away for 4. Well, slightly slower, pitched a little bit further up by Greg. And Julian was onto it very quickly. That's nicely placed. Link forward, allowed that to come on to him so he could find the gap on the offside. And those 2 more runs to Bernard Julian brings up the 450 for his side. Another excellent crowd here today, and they've seen some really scintillating cricket. Flighted, swung away again through mid-wicket. That's going to beat David Steele quite comfortably.
458 for 6. And Chris Old bowling to Julian. And up goes Knott, up goes the England side, and he's caught behind off the thinnest of tickles, straight to the wicketkeeper. And Alan Knott has taken his 200th Test match catch. So the 7th wicket goes down for 458, and England managing to some extent to restore the balance. At least West Indies are not running away like an express train. It's John Snow beginning what will be the last over before tea in the batsman Van Bernholder. And getting very close to that. Snow to Holder. And that's out, caught by Knott as it did it carry. They go up in the slips, but it didn't carry. They're asking. And Tom Spencer says not out, and he doesn't bother to ask the square leg umpire either, so Tom Spencer must have been satisfied that it dropped in front of Alan Knott. The 2 English slips went up. So Tom Spencer could have been in no doubt at all from his angle, and he didn't bother to refer to Harold Bird square leg. Snow again, the batsman Holder. Gives him the bouncer and he swings on it. And he gets it for 4 just behind square on the leg side. He played it very well. Plenty of time. This bowler Holder to get into position on this now docile pitch and to swing John Snow for 4.
Shot. David Steele has no chance of picking that up. And closest corner. Miscued hook shot. Not a particularly good delivery, but it's picked up John Snow's first wicket at a cost of 116, with Derek Murray not quite getting over the top of that hook shot. Brian Close taking his catch for 81 for 8 then. Good lusty blow from Van Bernholder. Takes him now to 15. Ball him, and that's the 9th wicket down. Chris Old, another success for him. He takes his 2nd wicket. And the man out is Andy Roberts. All the other 8 wickets have gone down. 2 catches, and Andy Roberts here is the first man to have his stump shattered by an England bowler. Perhaps a measure of just how good a pitch this is. Seemed almost to go through the centre of the bat. Youngest member of the touring party, only 20 years of age. He played 5 first-class matches before the tour. They come on pretty quickly in the West Indies. Well bowled by Chris Holt. Not quite good enough, but it's a maiden. Score stays at 488 for 9. Could easily been 488 all out. One almost got under Wayne Daniels' bat. It looked as though it would have hit round about the middle and leg. Good Yorker.
It's Daniel now facing Old. And that's gone right between the 2 slips. Well, he couldn't have really placed it better. Bisecting first and second slip there, away to Gregg's right, away to Hendrick's left. And that's it, tossed high in the air, and a knots appeal answered by Harold Bird. West Indies all out. Daniel, the last one to go. Caught not, bowled Old to wind up a really excellent spell there from Yorkshireman Chris Old.
494, well that's a daunting total for the England batsman and the captain Tony Gregg. Magnificent innings, Vivian Richards, 232. Kalicharan, pretty slow today, but a valuable partnership with Richards. I understand he had some shoulder trouble today that was restricting his stroke play. And the other batsmen losing their wickets in the chase for runs. Lloyd 16, Julian 21, Murray 19 and Holder 19 not out. Best of the England bowlers in the pace department I thought was Chris Old. He deserved those 3 wickets for 80, 34.3 overs. And Derek Underwood, who I thought was sadly underused on the first day, came up today and picked up 4 wickets, and I thought he bowled very intelligently indeed. Well, the England batsman, because of bad light, had to face only 1 over, though. A little bit lucky there. Everything was running right for Clive Lloyd. The innings finished just about the right time. It looked as though he'd have a chance for Roberts and Daniel and Julian and the other medium pacers to have a go at the England batsman. In fact, just the 1 over from Andy Roberts. A fiery one, and one that showed that he's 2 or 3 yards quicker than anything England can provide, but John Edridge managed to survive it. He and Brearley were the 2 men who came out for England for that 3-minute spell right at the very end of the day. Now, England have a very, very difficult task over the remaining 3 days of this game. They can't win the game. I think that's settled now in the sense that they kept West Indies from scoring too quickly today. It was a pretty good effort from Tony Gregg and the bowlers and the fieldsmen to fight back in that way, but they have got a tremendous rearguard fight on their hands. Their batsmen have to bat for 3 days, spanning 2 innings, and it's not going to be easy. The saving grace for them, I think, is that there's not a spinner in the West Indian side. An all-pace attack, although that'll be difficult to face, people like Roberts and Daniel very fast, no spinner, and I think the West Indians may well regret by the end of this Test match that they went in with a